Jaws is probably the best shark movie ever made. It's not even like a competition. Jaws has like way outpaces the other movies, including its own 3 sequels. It's not even close. Jaws is iconic as far as shark movies go. I mean, this is the movie that made people afraid of sharks. People didn't used to, people did fear the ocean before this guy burst onto the screens in the summer of '75, but people really had a reason to fear the ocean after this movie came out. Jaws turned 50 years old this year. So this movie's been, I mean, absolutely, this movie's been giving me nightmares for years and years. I watched this movie when I was 3 years old. Was the first time I ever watched this movie. And it was a sort of child comfort movie like the Lion King is for some kids. I would watch it like that on repeat. I'd finish the movie, rewind the VHS tape, play it again. That's how long I've been watching this movie. Definitely didn't give me nightmares. Definitely sharks aren't constantly in my dreams to this day. Definitely am not afraid of going in the ocean at all. And definitely don't think I'm about to meet our Lord and Savior when I feel a piece of kelp brush my leg while I'm in the water. That definitely doesn't happen every single time I'm in the ocean or a pool. Definitely don't start to get creeps. Jaws is an absolutely iconic movie. Just about every scene in the movie is memorable. From the opening to the ending. From when the shark drags the girl underwater, from when the beach scene, to the second beach scene, to the barrels, to the stories, to Sheriff Brody blowing the shark up. Everything is iconic. To Quint being eaten, everything. Absolutely fantastic film. It left quite an impression in people's minds when they left the theater, though. One of the main issues is people saw this thing and thought it was pretty scary. Just like how Top Gun had military recruiters outside the theater because it was such a patriotic film that people needed to sign up for it right away. People left the theaters and were so scared of these things that they went out and started hunting and killing them en masse. An absolutely insane amount of sharks died in the wake of this movie coming out. I want to say it's something like, they said like 50% of the shark population in the Atlantic Ocean were the great white shark, the great white shark population in the North Atlantic Ocean went down by 50% because people were killing them so much. And it wasn't just great whites that were catching it. I mean, it was any other type of shark they could catch. Even in the beginning of the movie, they even show it where they have the shark tournament scene. And these shark tournaments took place in real life. People killing them en masse. And shark killings still persist to this day. I think it's about 140 million sharks die a year, which is insane. The kill to death ratio, sharks versus humans, is crazy. I mean, like I said, this movie, and in the book specifically, Peter Benchley said in the foreword of his book that each scene in the book where the shark kills someone is based off a story in real life. Obviously not the same shark did it, but they were all sort of somewhat true stories. Now, the shark deaths a year that people die from shark attacks is about 10 people per year, which, I mean, that's so low, it's not stopping for anyone from getting in the ocean. I still get in the ocean, even though I'm afraid of these things. I'm afraid of the deep water, but I'll still get in the ocean. Now, like I said, I believe the shark attacks last year, it was in 2024. Oh my God, what year is it? In 2024, the shark attacks was about 40 shark attacks. I mean, the amount of sharks getting killed versus humans, insane. Now, not as many shark tournaments happen, thankfully, but they do still happen across the country. Well, I mean, the coast anyway. I don't think there's too many shark competitions taking place in Oklahoma or Kansas. That's so stupid. Stupid is being so afraid of sharks, but living in a landlocked state. You're like, oh, having nightmares about these things, but the only thing you can be afraid of is like the deep end of the pool. Like, you'll have a nightmare and a shark is in a swimming pool for some reason because you don't live anywhere near the ocean, so you're never swimming in the ocean. The only thing you ever swimming is a swimming pool, and you have these things popping up in the deep end. This movie scared people so bad. I mean, it still scares people to this day. Peter Benchley has said he somewhat regrets writing the story and the way he did. Because so many sharks were targeted, it's an animal, it's just an animal. So many were killed, inspired by the movie, that he regrets making it in a way, and that he wouldn't write a story about an animal like that again, knowing what he knows now about them. Thinking, I suppose when he wrote it, he thought they were more mindless killers. And the beginning of the book, for example, even writes it as such. And even Steven Spielberg says he regrets the influence. He regrets making it because of the influence of the movie. That's how bad it got. I mean, Steven Spielberg, this is like one of his best movies. This is like an absolute classic of American cinema here, and he regrets making it. He regrets its influence anyway. But it's not all bad, because later in his life, Peter Benchley would put a lot of effort into conservatism for these animals and really working towards making sure these creatures were protected, as they should be. There's no reason why an animal like this should be hunted off the face of the earth. Absolutely appalling. It's horrible. Peter Benchley would put a lot of work into the conservation of these animals later in his life, saying that sharks had given so much to him in the form of Jaws that he should give back to them. And he's done wonders to help in the conservation of these animals. He said just as many people went out, well, maybe not just as many people went out and started hunting these things down because they were so afraid of them, just as many people were inspired by the movie in a different way and became like marine biologists. A lot of people saw this movie and thought that they were the coolest thing they'd ever seen and wanted to learn more about them. I feel like this is the most iconic scene in the movie. It's always my most memorable when the shark jumps on the boat and then eats Quinn. I always feel like it was the most terrifying, where he just slides right into its mouth, and then later it pops up with his guts in its mouth when Brody puts the air tank in its mouth. You can see Quint's, I feel like you can see Quint's shirt tore up in its teeth. I always feel like this is the scene I always think about when I think of Jaws. That and him actually shooting it. Maybe it's different for other people, but this is what I think of when I think of Jaws. Look at that thing. You can actually see, I don't know if you can see that on camera, you can actually see the wire right here where it's connected to the mechanism underwater. And also something else interesting, I always thought Jaws took place in the middle of the ocean, but it doesn't, because you can see back here above the shark, there's land. Like, they're not even that far away. This whole horror story, these men on the boat, it doesn't even happen that far away from the shore. Like, they could have at any point just gone back. But Quint was such a crazy person that he just like wouldn't let them go back. Like, they could have gotten supplies, more help, whatever. But, kind of Moby Dick thing going on. Anyway, just as many people saw this and thought that was really rad, and they started studying them, and a lot of effort has thankfully been put into finding out about these creatures and learning that they're just like any other animal, and that you shouldn't be. People are more so irrationally afraid of sharks. Sharks, like I said, don't cause that many deaths. They don't even cause that many attacks. But people really still even to this day, don't really know that much about them, and that's why it's so important to learn about them, because when you blindly fear something that you don't know anything about, you lash out at it. And that's what people did after seeing this movie. I think it's pretty tragic how many sharks were just killed. I want to say it was also not just the North Atlantic Ocean, but I believe off the West Coast, and I don't know if it was California or what, but like they said the same thing, like 50%, like half the white shark population was wiped out. So you got half the shark populations on each side of the country just like completely wiped out from this movie, which is a crazy thing to think about, that a movie can have this much impact on the environment in such a way. But like I said, thankfully, there aren't that many shark tournaments anymore. People don't go out and kill great white sharks after seeing this movie. Or at least I hope they don't. I hope there's not a man who just saw this for the first time and said, I gotta go put an end to that thing. There probably is. Probably someone has done that. Normally when people catch these things now, people catch them. People actually catch great whites nowadays. They'll catch them and tag them and then release them. There's like a whole industry down in Florida about people who do that. I suppose as terrible as it is that so many sharks died, I think it's also nice to know that so many people have taken this as an opportunity to learn about sharks and actually care about their role in the environment and not just think of them as heartless killing monsters. I know Peter Benchley said that in his foreword for his book, he mentions that he's met multiple people who have come up to him and have told him that they became marine biologists because of his book, which he thought was crazy because he thought it was great, but crazy because, you know, who sees this, you know, and thinks, wow, I wanna get in that cage. But it's a good thing people do. Side note, people mention how you shouldn't be afraid of sharks at all because they're misunderstood creatures, but I want to remind you they do actually kill people, and they are an apex predator, and it is completely rational to be afraid of an apex predator. Okay, like, you see those videos of people redirecting the sharks away? I'm just saying, I feel like all those people are getting a little lucky, all right? I know I just mean it's bad to, you know, demonize sharks, but, you know, I mean, you know, the grizzly guy, the grizzly bear man, what was he called? Whatever that grizzly bear man was called. He got killed by grizzly bears, so. Well, that's the end of the sharks. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.